Hello, good morning and welcome to Newsdesk. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, illegal mining, unfavorable weather condition and smuggling activities compel export revenue of cocoa to fall by more than $500 million as the country annual production number continues to tumble.
The cost of production is also increased as a result of the illegal mining in these communities. Farmers will have to spray their cocoa farms because the water bodies along these areas have been polluted.
Stay as we unpack the Bank of Ghana's summary of the macroeconomy and financial data for May 2024, plus a response from Cocoa Board. Also in this bulletin, Ghana Armed Forces warns against attacks on uniformed military personnel following a viral video of parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East constituency, Ernest Frimpong, encouraging miners to retaliate against security forces at mining sites. We also have business updates, all within the next 60 minutes. My name is Faustina Safo. Take a seat, be my guest. Thanks for choosing us. Now we start with illegal mining because it has become a key issue in today's discussion. Unfavorable weather conditions and smuggling activities, they have compelled export revenue of cocoa to fall by more than $500 million. Now, as the country's annual production number continues to tumble, this was contained in the Bank of Ghana's summary of the macroeconomy and financial data for May 2024. It is coming at a time when the cedi is struggling to hold ground against major trading currencies, having lost more than 20% of its revenue to the dollar since the beginning of this year. Well, the Joy News Research Desk has been studying this report put out by the Bank of Ghana. My colleague Isaac Kofi joins me via Zoom with more on this. Isaac, thank you for your time here on Newsdesk. Now, how significant is this drop in cocoa revenue?
Well, firstly, it's very, very significant. If you look at the volume of syndicated loan that comes in and its support to the cedi, it tells you that whenever the cedi coughs, the cocoa coughs, you have the cedi catching cold. And so if you are not really getting the needed revenue, then it simply tells you that this is going to affect how the cedi trades against major currencies.
To appreciate the significance of this revenue shortfall, let's do a comparative analysis from last year, the first quarter, and this year. What are the changes?
Well, very, very significant changes. It's so abnormal to see cocoa revenue, we are talking about export revenue in the first quarters of each year, dropped from over $1 billion last year to less than $500 million this year. Now, according to the Ghana Statistical Service in their trade vulnerability report, they state that, cocoa is actually one of the backbone of the economy, and usually we get majority or significant portion of the entire annual revenue in the first quarter. So the first quarter revenue is a big target. If you are not able to hit the target, then it simply means that by the end of the year, you may not meet your annual target. Now, this all started when we went into the cocoa syndicated loan market to look for 1.2 billion. And instead of 1.2 billion, we ended up getting only $800 million. And even the $800 million, we weren't able to withdraw the total amount. We could withdraw only $600 million. That in itself told you something, that tells you something that, we're going to get the target that we were looking for. We've been studying the data, and just like you said, comparative-wise, from 2015 to now, let me even say that in the last 9 years, this is the lowest. This is actually the lowest, first quarter value that we've recorded in the last 9 years. And in 10 years, since 2015, when we recorded somewhere $289 million in the first quarter. This is the first time we are recording anything below $600 million. And this is a huge drop. And cocoa, just like we've been saying, is the backbone of the economy. We've been studying the data, you realize that anytime cocoa, the export value we get from cocoa drops in the first quarter of the year, it really affects the city. So for instance, 2015, when we had our lowest record in the first quarter, when cocoa revenue was somewhere around $238 million, we saw the city depreciating in the first quarter by more than 14%. The same thing is happening this year. Revenues are below $500 million. And in the first quarter, even at the interbank level, the city lost 7.7% of its value against the dollar. If you go to the retail level, it was more than 10%. So that tells you that cocoa inflows, especially from the cocoa syndicated loan, is really, really significant. And just like you said, we have, adverse weather conditions, diseases, and the most, peculiar problem, which is not a problem of Ivory Coast, it's not a problem of Nigeria, it's not a problem of Ecuador. Galamsey is a peculiar challenge to Ghana. And we are the only ones destroying our cocoa farms with Galamsey, and we don't seem to be giving it that significant national talk. But this is really having a toll on the economy. So mind you, whenever you see champagnes on water bodies mining and destroying and polluting water bodies, know that if they are in cocoa areas or farming areas, know that this will come back to bite the economy really, really hard in the exchange space.
Thank you so much, Kofi AJ, for giving us that data. And we'll be monitoring this story because we know that the Cocoa Board has been trying to work things out. We will bring you an interaction with Fifi Boafo shortly, who is head of PR for Cocoa Board. But then let's get on Zoom and bring in an economist, Dr. Seram, to get to understand how this would impact our economy, because we have been looking forward to some of these revenues to shore up our city, and it's not coming in. Over $500 million. What are the implications moving forward?
Thank you very much. What we're going to have is that we're going to have the depreciation of the city. The inflows of cocoa is very key, as stated in the Statistical Service report, that cocoa is the mainstay of our economy. And we need a lot of foreign exchange to shore up our city. And so once we are not getting that inflow, it means that we are lacking behind, and partly due to the issue that we are not able to borrow from the international financial market, and it makes it very difficult for the managers of the economy to manage the situation. As stated by your reporter, it also means that we are destroying our cocoa farms, and once we are destroying the cocoa farms, it goes a long way to affect the quality of the cocoa that we produce in the country. We, in a year, have imported cocoa from neighboring countries, and so we are just lying to ourselves. We are tickling ourselves that we are doing the right thing. Meanwhile, we are not doing what we are expected to do. Going forward, the economy is going to suffer greatly because the cedi, once it continues to depreciate, it affects the rate of inflation that we have in the country. There are some people who may be able to benefit from it, but at the long run, we all suffer the consequences. And so there is the need for all of us to come together. Those at the cocoa sector, they need to go back to the drawing board and ensure that they do the right thing, provide the quality that is needed, the training that is needed, and the financial management, so that when we have fertilizer and other implements that are needed for the production of quality cocoa, we will be able to get it right.
Now let's look at other commodities that we could probably invest in that could bring us that same amount of value that cocoa brings into the economy, because concerns have been, we've been exploiting cocoa for a very long time. Is there any other commodity we could look at?
The other commodity that we can look at that can bring the volumes that we have is gold. if we do not refine the gold, even the cocoa that we are exporting, there is a need for us to add value to it. Where there is the need also for us to ensure that we add value to whatever we have. Once we have a comparative advantage in the production of these items, the other ones, the tree crops and all those things that we have, we are now building them. And so it will take a long time for us to make sure that we reach the level that is required by the international community. I'm very much aware that there has been some moves that have been made to ensure that we export a lot of banana, but that has also not been on a large scale. We have mangoes that are around, but we are not also taking advantage of that particular one. So let's look within our country. If we are importing tomatoes, onions from other countries, if we can also produce those things in our country and export to other regions and in the sub-region of Africa, that will help us a lot. We can also look at the policy that will ensure that we produce rice. Rice is a food that almost everyone eats, and we have land that is available. All that we need is the policy direction to make it right.
Moving forward, how can we fix the situation? Let's look at internal factors, measures you feel government could put in place to fix the problem.
Let's put our country first. Let's ensure that we give the proper training the farmers need. Let us protect our lands from galamsey. Let us ensure that the subsidies that the farmers need gets to those who need it. Let us make sure that we use technology in our agricultural sector, where there is the need for drones to be used for monitoring. Let us make sure that we do that. Let us stop the talk, but let us walk what we plan. If somebody is not doing the right job, let's leave political party affiliations aside. Let's fire that person and bring the next person that will come on board. In the cocoa sector and in the agricultural sector, if we politicize it just like the financial sector, these things will continue to exist. There may be somebody who has the idea of doing it, and that person is an expert in that particular area. If the person is in the opposition party or any other party, let's bring those people on board so that the sector can move on well for all of us. The mismanagement in the sector is glaring, and there is the need for us to stop some of those things. The cocoa sector is not supposed to go into roads and all those things. If it is cocoa roads, that is fine. But where they apply the money and we do not get value for those monies, it goes a long way to affect all of us, my sister.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah, who's an economist with UCC. Now, we understand Cocoa Board is targeting more than $1 billion from the cocoa syndicated loan for the year 2024 and 2025. Now, but can they even obtain this facility, looking at how poor our production during the first quarter has been? Well, we've been interacting with Head of Public Affairs at Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo. He's been providing some answers. Let's listen.
The revenue is raised basically from export of cocoa. And when there's low exports, it affects the revenue stream coming in. And cocoa production this year is pretty obvious that production this year compared to previous years, we've not had a good year. The reason, as you indicated, is one from the effect of El Nino, two has to do with smuggling, the third one has to do with the effect of the swollen shoot viral disease, and then the fourth one also has to do with illegal mining. So these are basically the main reasons or drivers that I've seen the low productivity or low production this year compared to previous years, hence this shortfall in terms of revenue from cocoa.
Let's take them one by one. You talk about illegal mining, which I'm very interested in. How has it impacted cocoa production so far? What figures do you have? Well,
the team is out there to undertake some study, so it is difficult to put figures to it. But yes, illegal mining has affected cocoa production. It comes in different forms. Firstly, there are farms which have been converted to illegal mining sites. So hitherto these farms were producing cocoa. They are no more producing cocoa today. So certainly it will have an effect. The second part is also some farms have also been cut off. Access to the farms is very difficult now for the farmers to access these farms. The illegal miners actually, they dig holes. That makes it difficult for the farmers to cross these heavy holes that blocking the access to the farms. So that also affects them. The other side is also the farm hands these farmers hire to help them on their farms. The illegal mining is within the cocoa communities. Hitherto, they were paying the farm hands some amount of money. When illegal mining is introduced into that community, it becomes difficult for the farmers to compete in terms of hiring these farm hands to help them on their farms. Because when they go to the illegal mine site, how much they make, they do not find the same amount when they work for the cocoa farmers. So the farmers do not get the farmers. I remember I had a conversation with a cousin of mine. She's a lady, a cocoa farmer. And she says she was actually struggling to get farmers to help her harvest the cocoa. Because the youth in the community prefer to go to the galamsey sites. And then she has to, on her own, harvest the cocoa. It has an effect. So that's another challenge it brings to the farmers. The cost of production is also increased as a result of the illegal mining in these communities. The cost of production, because I've already indicated this on your network before, farmers will have to spray their cocoa farms because the water bodies along these areas have been polluted. So they have to carry water from home to go and do the spraying. I talked about the farm hands. So what the farmer will have to do is to increase, probably double or increase the amount paid to the farmers to help them on the farm. It affects the cost of production. So it has its effect on cocoa production generally. But I would say that among all the factors that has resulted to the low production we see this year is the El Nino effect.
Tell us more about that effect.
So El Nino is a weather condition, and it happens within a time interval, according to geographers, between a time interval of about 10 years. What happened is that we experienced heavy rainfall pattern at a time we're not expecting it. And that led to some of the cherries falling. And then we got into a season where you expect some level of rainfall. It did not happen at the time, but rather we saw a very severe harmattan. I think there was a recording of the highest harmattan we've experienced or the world has seen some number of years now. And that led to the productivity of the farms. I remember one time I said on your network that weather effect has had an impact on low production, and then some people were making fun of it, but it will be very unfortunate if someone downplays the effect of weather on agriculture commodity, especially when you rely on rainfall agriculture, like we do in our country. So in a situation where we had a very severe harmattan, suddenly the effect on production is huge and very significant. And that is what has contributed largely to the production numbers we see this year. And this, I will also make the point that it is not just limited to Ghana. Côte d'Ivoire is going through a similar situation among other producing countries, and indeed the highest six are the West African countries, and you know, between Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana we are the biggest producers of cocoa. We are experiencing that. So this is what largely has led to the production numbers we see today. The other factor is also the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease. The cocoa swollen shoot virus disease has been with us for some time now, but it started spreading widely, I think from 2016, 2017. So government took a decision, and the decision was to treat these farms. When we say treat, what it means is that you cut the cocoa trees down. When you don't cut it down, the spread continues. Unfortunately, as we speak, we do not have any chemical treatment that is able to treat farms that have been affected by soil shoots. So we had to do that. Cutting all these farms were all contributing, not in a significant form, but in some level of cocoa. All such farms, or most of those farms, have been treated. When you treat them, their production to the mainstream is lost. You don't have them. So apart from the farms not doing well because they've been affected by the soil shoot, all the farms you've treated, you've also lost the cocoa you were getting from these farms, unless these farms starts producing
all over again. I know that you have been on the grounds trying to mitigate the impact of smuggling, but how successful has that been?
Well, there's some level of smuggling still ongoing. The efforts are also ongoing to make sure that we deal with the issue of smuggling. But indeed, if there are those who say that every arrest you make, there's a likelihood that 10 times that has gone through the system. So, and if you look at the report we get, every week there's an arrest. Every single week, and sometimes more than one, there's an arrest. So if we are to believe the assertion that every arrest you make, 10 of them have scaled through, then it should tell you the impact it is having on the industry, because there have been several arrests across. Indeed, some of them have been successfully. We've prosecuted some of them.
How many of them?
I think about 5 persons are now in jail, serving between 5 to 7 years jail term. As a result of smuggling. There are several cases in court currently, and these people are smuggling. There are those who raise the question that, so why are they smuggling? And indeed, we get that a lot. The smuggling is largely because between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, we do the forward sales. And then the forward sales is a way of mitigating risk, and then also being able to have a secured funding for the year. But as we do that, in an unusual year where you see a price increase like we're experiencing this year, it gives room for people who want to sell on the spot to do so. Because yes, Ghana, we had signed some contracts and we are supposed to deliver. So every cocoa we take today, we have to use it to fulfill the contract we've signed. With these smugglers, every cocoa they get, they sell it on the spot at the prevailing world market price. And the price is where it is today, largely because there's low production in Cote d'Ivoire and in Ghana. And between the two countries, every cocoa you get, you are using that cocoa to service your contracts. And that is why these people are within the system. Initially, there were suggestions that, oh, well, it was Cote d'Ivoire that was benefiting because they were paying a better price than Ghana. That's not the case, because they are not paying better price than us. And indeed, in Cote d'Ivoire today, they are equally brutally fighting smuggling, because people are actually smuggling cocoa from Cote d'Ivoire to Guinea and Liberia. So they are also in the same situation like we find ourselves. The biggest route now is the Togo border, the eastern border. That is where the smuggling is taking place. We understand there are some foreigners who have pitched camp there in Guinea, in Togo, exporting the cocoa they smuggle out of our country. So it's a major problem we face. But like I said, there's some efforts underway to deal with it. The expectation is that with a successful arrest and prosecutions, it will serve as a deterrent for people who feel that, well, it was a way of making money out of the system.
We know that you're expecting to apply for the cocoa syndicated loan to help mitigate some of these challenges. But with the current output we're putting out, how does this influence our chances to access this facility?
Well, with the facility, so the facility is basically to finance the crop, and the projection going into next year is better compared to what it has been this year. And another key factor is also price, because usually, no matter the quantities you produce, if the price is low, how much you are able to raise is comparatively lower. This time round, you have a better price because the world market price yes, we saw it rise to about 10,000. It has dropped to around 7,000. When you do forward sales presently, forward sales won't give you the 7,000. It gives you 5,000 thereabout. But it's comparatively still better than what we've seen over the years. So selling into the future gives us better prospect in terms of how much we are able to raise. And then it gives us some optimism that yes, raising the facility for the year will not be a challenge. Some level of engagement between us and the banks have gone on, and it's been very productive. Annual cocoa revenue exceeds 2 billion. So saying 500 million shortfall does not mean that your entire revenue is off. What you need to also note is that every year, the cocoa we collateralized to syndicate is not the entire crop.
Okay.
We syndicate part of the crop for the syndication, or we collateralize it to syndicate for the facility. So it does not in any way mean that the fact that there's a shortfall means that you are not in a position to service your facility, and for which reason you are not able to procure another facility for the work. And Cocoa Board has done the syndication for 31 years successfully. So we do not think that that is a challenge. Of course, there's some conversation as to different means of raising revenue or financing the crop, but that's another thing. But the point is that we've had a very successful conversation up to this point in terms of working on the next syndication facility.
Let's do some other stories now. Well, the Ghana Armed Forces is warning against attacking uniformed military personnel following a viral video where the parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East constituency in the Western region, Ernest Frimpong, encourages miners to retaliate against security forces at mining sites. In a statement, GFA underscores GAF underscores that such actions are not only unlawful, but also jeopardizes national security and stability. We'll get into the details of that statement shortly. First, let's show you that viral video.
Patrol now soldiers need security services here. What woman? My road business with it. It is a while for now 5 million, 3 million, 10 million. Now the regional price of 1 of the man. Sadly, because the police for these soldiers going out around them at the office, at cases are more man and all and in Zinaria, Obiba Petrua, as I said, when they are so while full money, the wild person of the mama, on board the mama. But so people said, or you saw your indicating too much but too control my own and track ideas or more about. Oh, yes. So, my patrol or my patrol, and the Akasset authority or the aid you must have mature. Young Jeffrey said, you don't know where you get a moment or also young nigga, do the chingo. I said, but the women is a woman away Ghana for. And Bravo, we are mobile, so here to make it. Or no, I want to move on with a bomb. So, Moon is as seen as we become.
Well, let's now bring you the response from the Ghana Armed Forces, and it's coming up on your screen shortly. It says the Ghana Armed Forces has taken note of the viral video on social media calling for attacks on soldiers and other security personnel. We strongly wish to caution the public against such utterances. Next slide. Now, it is instructive to note that such calls are not only unlawful, but also pose a significant threat to the security and stability of our nation. We therefore condemn any form of incitement or encouragement of violence against our soldiers. Now, the statement goes on to say it is also crucial to understand that personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces and sister security agencies are committed to upholding the highest standards of professionalism, discipline, and respect for human rights in the execution of their duties. In a situation where a soldier misconducts himself or herself, the soldier should be reported to the nearest police station or military barracks for the appropriate disciplinary action to be taken. They go on to say it is important to note that soldiers, like any individuals, have the right to defend themselves. That's the right to self-defense when faced with imminent threats or attacks that pose a danger to their lives or the lives of others. And they say in a situation or in situations where soldiers are confronted with immediate threats or acts of violence, they caution that they are allowed to use necessary, quote, and proportionate force to protect themselves and others. Well, it also goes on to say it implores all citizens to respect, cooperate, and support our soldiers and refrain from engaging in acts of violence or incitement against them. Let's do some other stories now, because Ghana risks losing its mangrove cover if water pollution, over-exploitation and impact of climate change are not addressed urgently. The mangrove cover is estimated at 72.4 square kilometers, which includes both naturally occurring and planted mangroves. Now, site manager at Songo Ramsar site, Ernest Apenkwa, says due to human activities, there's a need for deliberate effort to restore and increase the cover. There's more in the following report.
Mangroves serve as barriers against coastal erosion and storm surges, safeguarding homes and other marine lives, not forgetting fuel wood, timber, and other benefits. The country's mangrove cover is estimated at 72.4 square kilometers with over 18 million trees. This mangrove cover is experiencing decline due to overexploitation, human activities, climate change, but to mention a few. One of the areas experiencing these challenges is Ubane, with 15.12 hectares in the Adan East district of the Greater Accra region. To address this, Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission is pushing for concerted efforts. Site manager at Songo Ramsar site, Ernest Apenkwa, says, together with Strategic Youth Network for Development and partners, they are planting 2,000 mangrove seedlings as part of the Green Ghana Day initiative.
Yeah, the importance of planting mangrove in this swamp area is one, to ensure that when it rains heavily, it doesn't flood the communities around. So, you know, this area is a prone flood area. So we chose this area to ensure that this flooding doesn't disturb the houses around. Number two is most of the fish species prefer laying their eggs under the red mangrove roots. So we have selected this place so that the fish will lay their eggs, and at least more fish will multiply, and the communities the fisher folks around can get fish from these mangrove areas.
Unit Committee Secretary at Ubane, Eric Tetewusa, believes the collaboration will ensure biodiversity, restore degraded mangrove zones within coastal areas, among others.
Yeah, we government are fed because
this is a good initiative which the community will benefit from, including tourism. It will have significant impact on fishing as well. However, there are some challenges, as we have to find some means to ward off herdsmen and their cattle from destroying these seedlings. We will be much grateful if you could also get our support in dredging our lake, which serves the community in so many ways.
It's a link, so we need to dig inside to get the water to flow.
Meanwhile, Head of Sustainability at Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, Emmanuel Hammond, says they have so far supported Green Ghana Day with 17,000 seedlings.
The mangrove serves as a natural reservoir of water, underground water. There's fish, shrimps, there are other crabs and, other animals in there. And it serves as a source of livelihood for the community members. So with the depletion of the mangrove, it actually affects, their source of livelihood. So doing this, we are not just doing this to replenish for replenishing sake, but also to help the community, which is in line with our purpose, which is to partner every life and to protect every future. So not just the community you see here, but also their children, their children's children in the years to come. Yeah, I mean, we believe other organizations have planted in mangroves, just like we are doing today.
For Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, planting of the mangroves is in line with United Nations SDGs, including Life Below Water SDG 14, Climate Action SDG 13, and Life on Land SDG 15, and is committed to similar initiatives.
Now let's head to the Bono East region, where both districts and regional offices of the National Identification Authority remained closed on Monday due to the strike by staff of the authority. Now, the situation, according to some residents of Techiman, will continue to affect their lives as they plead for government to intervene. There's more in this report by Anas Sabit.
The intended strike action by staff of the National Identification Authority took immediate effect here in the Techiman municipality and other parts of the Bono East region. Offices of the NIA within the Techiman municipality were closed when we arrived here with no one in sight. We then moved to the regional office to check the situation there, and just like the municipal office, the facility was equally under lock with no one to talk to. Later, we found few persons arriving with the intention of having new or replacement of their NIA cards. Douglas in Saniba is one of them. He came all the way from Nkranza North District to replace his lost Ghana card.
Yeah, I'm here because of my Ghana card. I lost my Ghana card. Yeah, on my way back to here from work. I was on the way and some robbers attacked us. So, and I want to apply for university forms, and they are requesting for the Ghana card number. So that's why I'm here to replace it.
Douglas tells me he's left in a confused state as he struggled to raise an amount of 100 Ghana cedis to take care of his transportation from his community to the regional capital, and his parents, who raised the amount, won't be happy with the news.
Now I'm confused. I'm confused of what to do, because going back, the way they struggled to get this money for me, and when I came, they are not there. I'm very, very confused.
How much did you spend to this place?
50 cedi. In is 50 cedi. If I'm going back to 50, 100. Yeah. If I don't get it there, it's a problem in my life. Yeah. And again, my parents they will not be happy, because it's not easy when they give me this money. It's not easy.
This man here, who agreed to speak to us on anonymity, also expressed his frustrations with the current situation. He says the situation means he will be unable to process his documentations before he leaves the country in a week's time.
This morning, I just came here for my Ghana card. I think as this is my first time, I traveled outside, and I'm now around, so it will be necessary for me to do it. And I'm supposed to go back maybe next week. Not maybe, definitely I'll have to return next week. So they're not being here, honestly speaking, I don't know. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
For this gentleman here, who equally spoke on anonymity, the situation is depressing and a big disappointment to people in need of the NIA card.
For me, I feel like this is quite depressing for me, because I was expecting to see their doors open so that they can aid in whatever that I'm looking for, help or distant needs. But if it's gonna be like that, then I feel like it's a big disappointment, not just to the nation, but to the world as well.
They are all appealing to authorities to quickly respond to the calls made by the NIA staff to enable them get back to the office on time.
I believe I can't really blame them much. I know they also have grievances as well. I'm praying that government or whoever is responsible should, dialogue with them, sort them out so that they can come and work as quickly as possible.
I just hope the government can take quick measures to curb this situation. And when you are overseas, there is no, let's say, possibility of acquiring a Ghana card, even if you go to the embassies or whatever. So I wish they can also take it to that side and make people overseas do it.
For Insaniba Douglas, who looks stranded here, he wished government could take care of his TNT as he tries to travel back home.
Right now, if they can just get me some money to go back, I'll be very, very happy. Yeah, if they can get me. But it's not easy to get government money to like that. So now I'm very confused.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
You're still watching News Desk. We're taking a quick breather. We'll be back with business, so stay tuned in.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The United Nations Development Program, Ghana, as part of the Green Ghana Day celebration, has organized a tree planting exercise at the Chippa Forest Reserve. According to the project manager of UNDP Ghana, Samuel Appiah-Dankwa, the exercise showcases their commitment to reviving the country's depleted forest reserves. Yes, more.
The tree planting exercise organized by the United Nations Development Program was done in collaboration with the Forestry Commission and the Church of Pentecost. The group planted over 1,000 seedlings at the end of the exercise. In an interview, project managers at UNDP expressed their commitment towards helping to revive Ghana's depleting forest reserves.
I'm sure all around the country there are forest reserves where this planting is going on. This one was a little closer to Accra because we're bringing a lot of UN staff and Pentecost, one of the Pentecost branches in Accra, to come and help do the planting. So this is closer, but also serves that purpose of reforesting a degraded forest reserve. UNDP itself has a broader program of greening Ghana. So we have projects in the north and in the forest areas where we are reforesting a lot of degraded forests. So it is part of just a program of UNDP where a lot of trees are being planted for commercial trees. We have other models.
A zonal overseer at the Forestry Commission, Kobna Jemfi, outlined steps being taken by the Commission to maintain and improve the forest reserve.
The Chippa Forest Reserve is 2,410 hectares and it's a degraded forest reserve. What has led to it being degraded is mainly due to bushfires, and also with regards to the Green Ghana planting activities being held here, they are mostly due to combating and finding ways to mitigate climate change. So we are creating a resilient space where future and present generations can benefit from someday. So that's basically why such initiatives are very important. And when we talk of planting trees, it's not mainly about just planting. It also encompasses planting them to sink the carbon that we emit into the atmosphere.
This year's Green Ghana celebration is themed Growing for a Greener Tomorrow.
Now, the Chamber of BoG Oil Distributors Ghana, CBOD, is in talks with partners to acquire more lands to engage in green initiatives that will support the country's carbon credit. This is part of moves by the Chamber to promote climate-focused activities aimed at reducing the effect of climate change here in the country. Chief Executive Dr. Patrick Ofori disclosed this to journalists after leading members of the Chamber to plant about 1,000 trees at Agomeda Chippa Forest as part of the Green Ghana Day. Yes, more.
The Chamber of BoG Oil Distributors joined Ghanaians to plant trees to protect the environment and reduce the effects of climate change. This is in line with the Green Ghana policy by government to ensure that many individuals and corporate bodies embark on green initiatives. According to the Chief Executive of the Chamber of BoG Oil Distributors Ghana, Dr. Patrick Ofori, discussions are underway to ensure that importers of fuel into the country adhere to certain carbon print standards.
We're currently also in discussions with Labra University on their initiative of promoting and advocating for cleaner energy initiative that they are doing in sub-Saharan African and a couple of other African countries that recently when they were in country, we've had the initial discussions to ensure that we can partner them to push that agenda forward. We're also discussing with other partners, especially BP, on our quest to also enhance on their carbon credit in also to acquire more hectares of land to plant trees that we can use to offset and gain some form of carbon credit for it.
Some of the members who engaged in the exercise at the Agomeda Forest has also been sharing their thoughts with journalists.
This is the first of its kind that I'm having to join, and I'm really excited about it. I think that there's been a lot of talks and education about greening Ghana, and considering the industry that we are in, I think that it's a good thing that we are attempting to do.
We have participated in this wonderful exercise. I believe everybody should be part of it, including seniors, juniors and mid-level management, because it's for the common community and it brings the benefit to entire the country, not to the specific part of the country. Secondly, what I see, Ghana is one of the affected climate countries which has a seriously challenges in coming days and right now. So it's really a worthy exercise to carry on frequently basis.
Is something that each and every one of us as Ghanaians should actually participate in. We should take this serious. Planting trees is hard work, and yes, it contributes to our climate. You can see the way the rains have been falling nowadays. In fact, yes, I'm not a geography student, but what I'll say is you can tell that the rains have been intensive as much as the heat. Ghana is so hot, and this is a sign that we are actually experiencing some form of climate change. So for me, this is good. This is a great initiative the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors has embarked on with the Forestry Commission.
The Chamber has therefore acquired an area for the Forestry Commission to plant some trees to conserve the environment.
And that's it for this segment. The news returns after the break.
Well, that's it for News Desk. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. At 12 p.m., my colleague Aisha Ibrahim will be in the studio. We'll be tracking the impact of NIA workers' strike across the country, especially in the Greater Accra region. So you should stay tuned in to the Joy News channel. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs. Good morning.